Eden Hazard was once football's ultimate cheat code, a player so naturally gifted that for a sustained period he wasn't just one of the best players in the world. He was arguably the most influential player in the Premier League, the type of footballer who could decide games, seasons, and titles without ever looking like he was operating at full speed. And at his peak, his value comfortably crossed the €100 million mark because teams weren't just buying production, they were buying inevitability. Defenders knew what was coming, stadiums leaned forward when he received the ball, and entire game plans were built around stopping him. Yet more often than not, it didn't matter. Fast forward just a few years, and that same player became one of Real Madrid's most expensive disappointments. Barely featured, constantly injured, and eventually without a club at all, which forces the question that defines his entire career arc. How does a player fall this far without ever losing his talent? To understand that, you have to go back to the very beginning. Eden Hazard was born on January 7, 1991, in La Louvière, Belgium, into a household where football wasn't a dream. It was the default setting. His father played semi-professionally as a defensive midfielder. His mother played as a striker in Belgium's women's division, and all four Hazard brothers became professional footballers, with Eden standing out almost immediately. From the time he started playing at 4 years old, coaches describe him as untouchable, not just because of his skill, but because of how naturally he understood space, balance, and timing. At youth level, he wasn't learning football, he was expressing it. When Lille brought him into their academy, it quickly became clear they had something special, and by his mid-teens, first-team coaches were already watching him closely. Hazard made his professional debut as a teenager, and once he became a regular, his rise was relentless. Season after season, his output increased. Goals, assists, dribbles, and moments of pure control over games, all while still being younger than most of the players he was embarrassing. By the 2010-11 season, Hazard wasn't just Lille's best player, he was the league standout, leading the club to an incredible league and cup double and becoming the youngest player of the year in Ligue 1 history. Even then, there were subtle warning signs, questions about his training intensity, effort in practice, and overall professionalism, but his performances were so overwhelming that those concerns were always pushed aside. He followed that season with an even more absurd individual campaign, racking up goals and assists at a rate that made his departure inevitable. And when Hazard finally announced he was leaving Lille, he did it in the most Eden Hazard way possible, barely sleeping after a farewell party, then walking onto the pitch and scoring a hat-trick in his final match, as if to remind everyone that effort had never been the source of his greatness. When Chelsea signed him, they weren't gambling on potential, they were buying a finished product, and almost immediately, Hazard justified the investment. From his first season in England, he was central to everything Chelsea did well, combining creativity, ball progression, and match-winning moments in a way very few players in the league could replicate. Over the next several seasons, Hazard became Chelsea's identity, carrying the team through rebuilds, managerial changes, and tactical shifts, winning league titles, European trophies, and individual awards while consistently being the outlet in the biggest moments. Even in seasons where Chelsea struggled collectively, Hazard remained productive, often dragging the team forward almost on his own. And by the mid-2010s, he was firmly established as one of the best players in world football. His peak years saw him dominate the Premier League, earn Player of the Year honours, and receive Ballon d'Or recognition, with even elite managers openly stating that Hazard belonged in the same bracket as the very best players of his generation. Internationally, his 2018 World Cup performance with Belgium felt like the confirmation of everything his club career had suggested, as he led by example, dictated games against top opposition, and finished the tournament with the silver ball, proving he could carry a team on the biggest stage. By 2019, the timing felt perfect. Hazard had given Chelsea everything. He was still performing at an elite level, and he finally had the chance to fulfill his childhood dream of playing for Real Madrid under a manager he idolized. Real Madrid invested massively, committing over €100 million and handing Hazard superstar wages, expecting him to become the face of their post-Ronaldo era. But from the moment he arrived, the trajectory shifted. Hazard returned from summer overweight, struggled to establish rhythm, and most critically, his body began to break down in ways it never had before. Injuries that he once avoided now came in waves: muscle problems, ankle damage, fractures, and each setback took away the sharpness that defined his game. Unlike players who built their careers on relentless physical conditioning and obsessive professionalism, Hazard had always relied on natural balance, agility, and timing. And when those physical margins disappeared, there was no alternative version of himself to fall back on. At the same time, Real Madrid evolved without him. Younger, more explosive players like Vinicius Jr. and Rodrigo didn't just fill the gap, they raised the standard, making Hazard's presence increasingly unnecessary. Even when fit, he struggled to regain trust. Confidence faded, and minutes became sporadic. Across 4 seasons in Madrid, Hazard's numbers collapsed to levels that felt impossible to reconcile with his peak, and while he collected major trophies, including the Champions League, his contribution was minimal, leaving him more symbol than solution. The reality is that Hazard didn't suddenly forget how to play football. The sport simply demanded things from him later in his career that he had never truly needed before. Years of being heavily fouled, years of minimal training intensity, and years of relying on talent over physical upkeep eventually caught up to him. And once his durability disappeared, so did his dominance.